What's up, guys? I got a good subject today. This is not medical advice, so I obviously have to say that. That's what I hear all the disclaimers on YouTube saying. This is not financial advice, not medical advice. So this is not medical advice. But guys, do not skip physical therapy if you're injured. If you have a surgery or just an injury that you have to rehab without surgery. I was very blessed when I was coming up. Early on I had a guy, an experienced fighter that was quite a bit more experienced than me, told me to never skip physical therapy. He basically told me that his knee was never the same because he had knee surgery and skipped the therapy, and that he wasn't able to do certain kicks. His knee was a certain way, it would bend a certain way, and it would be painful to him years later when he would grapple, even because he skipped physical therapy. He said he didn't take it serious, and said he went like 2 or 3 times and literally never did it again after that. And then I got injured. So I've had 5 surgeries in my career, and I've had 4 of them that required physical therapy. And I made sure I never skipped because this guy told me that. So I go to my first ever physical therapy appointment, and there's another older guy in there, and he tells me basically the same thing. Not even a fighter, but just that he never got the mobility back in his shoulder because he skipped physical therapy. So I had 2 people in a pretty short time period tell me that, and fortunately I listened, and it's very important, guys. It is very important. Stretching in general is important. Taking care of your body, ice baths, all that. But if you have a surgery or an injury that the doctor's suggesting physical therapy, don't skip it, because it will come back to haunt you. It doesn't matter what level you are. You could be a amateur fighter, a lower level pro fighter, or a UFC fighter. If you, as things progress and you continue your martial arts journey, it's going to come back and haunt you. If you have a shoulder injury and you didn't do this physical therapy. What's crazy is, like, when I had shoulder surgery, and I never skipped one time, and I still didn't get the flexibility back. Like right now, I can bend this arm back pretty far, right? This side here won't go no further than this. So like when people Kimura me on this side in jiu-jitsu, I have to almost turn and give my back up to avoid it, because I have 0 flexibility. This arm doesn't bend the same. Like this one will go way back. And I never skipped. So it is of the utmost importance, and try to find a physical therapist, and preferably a good physical therapist that has a sports background. Doesn't have to be martial arts, doesn't have to be fighting or wrestling or boxing or jiu-jitsu or anything, but it does need to be an athlete, I feel like, because they'll make your physical therapy a little faster. They'll push you harder earlier on than somebody who doesn't really play sports, from my experience. So it was always good to find fellow athletes that competed. They did triathlons, marathons, and stuff. A lot of these physical therapists do, and I found one of them and went to him a couple times, and that really helped because he cut the time down a couple months. They're saying a 6-month recovery, and I had one dude basically, I got it done in like 4 months, but I never skipped therapy. And also I was suggested by therapists that you do more. Like whatever you do, you basically have homework. So if you do 50 reps of a shoulder pull or with a band or whatever, do the same number at home. And I got to a point where in the athletes, the athletes that were physical therapists would tell me basically, hey, just do double, triple of what you're doing here, and you'll speed the process up a lot. And one time I had hip surgery, and it was brutal. It sucked. I had a labrum tear, but it was pretty bad, and it was hurt. It got to a point where right before I fought in the UFC 2014, it was Jake Matthews. My groin started hurting really bad about 3 weeks before that fight, and I ended up having surgery after, and it was my labrum. My hip was torn really bad, and it was so bad it felt like a pulled groin, and they said that's kind of how it works. Even though the labrum was on the outside, it still hurts more in the inside, and it was very painful. So I got the surgery in one of my teammates actually was a physical therapist, a girl. Her name was Christina. And she was part owner of one of the gyms up the street, or one of the gyms I trained at that was close by. And up the street, she worked at this physical therapy place. And she let me come in there, and I started doing stuff early. So I had hip surgery, but within 2 months after the surgery, and keep in mind, this is not like a hip replacement surgery, it's a scope. But I think the time frame was like considered 4.5 or 5.5 to 6 months. But I got basically 100% in 4 months, because she, within 2 months or 6 weeks, she was already letting me do very light kicks and with the pad, or just hitting her in the leg and doing the drills and stuff, because she knew the stuff, and it was amazing. She really helped me recover my hips from my hip way faster. So someone with experience is always good. And if it's not fight experience, that might be hard for a physical therapist, but definitely an athlete, someone that plays sports. Try to find a physical therapist that does that. It looks like they're in shape, and they play the sports, and whether they run or swim or whatever, that will help you. But do extra. Once again, this is not medical advice, but this is just my experience. Over the years, I've had 4 surgeries with physical therapy, and I never skipped any therapies, and I took it serious, the recovery, and it helped me a lot. So just advice I pass on to you guys. If you got any more questions or any subjects you'd like me to talk about, just leave a comment below. And if you're new to martial arts, looking for to find a gym near you, get my book, The Ultimate Guide to Choosing a Martial Arts School and Instructor. The link is in the description below. Thank you, guys.